Hey guys, how are things? So, this evening, we're back in the car. So, you probably know what that means in terms of video, what type of video it is. We were hoping to do some other paranormal stuff and maybe even a bit of metal detecting, but the date of this one dictated that we were going to do this video. So, we're in Newbridge anyhow, and we're following the trail of Deirdre Jacob. Because we are approaching her 25th anniversary since she went missing. So we're driving through the main street of Newbridge, not a place that I'm particularly a favourite, but here on our left hand side is the AIB. Now that's very relevant, and across the road here we have the post office, which I presume this is the post office that she went to lodge her transfer her draft. So anyhow, that mightn't mean anything to you right now, but it will in a few minutes. So anyhow, Newbridge, County Kildare, Deirdre Jacob, an 18-year-old girl, young woman, and she was born in 1979, the 14th of October 1979, and she had a younger sister, Kira. I think she was 4 years younger than her, and was very passionate, wanted to pursue a career of being a primary school teacher. So off she went anyhow when she finished her Leaving Cert to university in London, St Mary's University. It's a college for teachers, and it's in Twickenham. And I say that like I know where Twickenham is. I actually don't, but that's where it is anyhow. She used to come back when she had her work placements. She'd come back and actually do her work placements in the school that she actually went to herself in Newbridge. She was born and reared in Newbridge, and from the Rossbury area. Now, to say she was an 18-year-old, you know, we all think, like, and this is going back to 1998, we think of a kid, but she was quite the capable young woman. She'd already done a year in teacher college in the UK. She'd come home now in the summertime, and her mother had secured her a job in the HSE for the summer. She had started a new relationship with one of her college classmates, Charlie I think was his name, and he was hoping to come over before the end of the summer, meet the family and travel around Kildare a bit and whatnot. And you can imagine at that age, 18 years of age, the world was her oyster, and you know, the amount of plans that she must have had for the future I find it very, very sad, to be honest, that she never got really to fulfill any of these plans that she may well have had. And you know, that very, very young woman who would now probably be about 43 years of age, what would she have achieved and what would she have amassed to at this point in time in her life? And even at 43 would have had so many more ambitions yet to fulfill. So she was particularly fond of her grandmother, her maternal grandmother, who had a small shop in the town, probably something like what my own mother had in Bray, you know, these kind of tug shops that really fulfill whatever the needs are at the time of year. So the variety of the shop changes somewhat throughout the year. Definitely did in Bray, because Bray is a very transitional town. But basically she wanted to spend time with her grandmother, and she went to the AIB and she got her bank draft. Now we know that happened at 12:58 on Tuesday, July the 28th, because she was captured on CCTV, and that was a positive sighting. And we also know after she'd gone to her grandmother's shop, and she then headed to the post office. That's why we showed you the post office there in the video, and I think that was at around, let's just say 2:30, give or take a few minutes. But she was captured on CCTV footage there as well, so we know she was definitely there. Now, between that point in time and returning home, there were 8 sightings of her heading home. and out of the 8 sightings there were 6 that were absolutely positively ID'd as Deirdre, because she was known to them. Bear in mind she was born and reared in the town, and obviously if you cast your mind back, we're after driving through Newbridge, but it would have been much more parochial back in that time, and you know, we're you know, a fair bit out of Dublin city centre, and I'm sure everybody would have known everybody. Like, I mean, me personally, I'm born and reared in Bray, and the amount of differences that Bray has now compared to when I was growing up, it was like a country kind of village almost. So the same would be for here. The amount of development you can see when we drove through there, the amount of modern development, you know, that has an impact on how well you know people from the town, and you know, the population grows. So anyhow, she left, and I think she went back to see her grandmother then again, and then would have headed home to the Rossbury area. So off she went anyhow, and that's where all these sightings happened. Now, they say that Newbridge, it's full of lots of little nooks and crannies and stuff like that, and if for that reason it could be the perfect kind of town to abduct somebody. Now, me personally, and you know, here I go off with my own theories again. I don't think she was abducted by someone on foot, because here we are, almost 25 years later, and we still have no idea where her body is. And like, one can only presume. I know in 2018, which was 20 years after her disappearance, they reclassified the case as a murder investigation. But like, I mean, we can only presume, you know, that she is dead. Like, I mean, what else could you say or imagine with that, you know? So if she had been abducted by foot, by someone on foot that didn't have a vehicle or a car, I'm pretty sure that body would have been located by now. Have you anything to add there, Natalie? Or?
Well, you kind of covered a lot, didn't you, really? Like, yeah, about what was found in her grandmother's shop, like, years later. So
there's a couple of you know, very significant discoveries since she went missing. Bear in mind, and yes, here we go again, I'm talking about Larry Murphy, but you know, I genuinely believe that Larry could be a fit for this one for the following reasons. A piece of paper was located in her grandmother's shop with Larry Murphy's name and his contact details. Now, that's a fact, and I don't know how long it was there, and I don't know how much it predated when Deirdre went missing, but I do know it was found. But there are much more other coincidences here too, and you know, when you start stacking coincidences on top of coincidences, I feel that they become less coincidental and quite relevant. We know, so 1998 would have been before anyone would have known about Larry Murphy, really, and before he committed that absolute heinous crime to that girl that was working in the hairdressers in Carlow. Now, make no mistakes about this, Larry Murphy has never been convicted of committing murder, but only for the fact that 2 poachers happened to be in the locality that night. He was in the midst of committing murder. He was on his way, and by the grace of God, these 2 poachers happened across this, and without that, I've no doubt in my mind, and I don't want to be an alarmist or anything like that, but I've no doubt in my mind that he was already commencing the act of murder. It's just that he didn't get to see it through. So anyhow, he was arrested the following morning, and in any of those cases, in would come a bunch of detectives and take paperwork, and any paperwork that he would have had, and of course they collated this paperwork and went through it. And in that period of time, as they were working through the paperwork, they did come across a document that tied him to a public house in Newbridge at the time that Deirdre went missing, and that he was acting or committing some sort of renovations and carrying out renovations on this bar. So we do know that he was in that locale at that point in time. Now that is very, very relevant. Now the next coincidence, and it's a shocking one that it hasn't really been portrayed much out there, but you know, the guards sent a file back to the DPP with a person of interest, and that person of interest they named as Larry Murphy, and they went through certain amounts of CCTV footage outside the post office, and they brought it to experts and had it enhanced as much as possible, and they were happy in the belief that somebody that could certainly fit the description of Larry Murphy was standing outside that area and was captured in CCTV. Now this can be checked up and verified. I'm not telling you a story of fiction, this is how the story goes. But anyhow, it went off to the DPP, and the DPP then returned it and didn't give it the nod of approval to head forward with an attempt of prosecution. Obviously the DPP felt that there wasn't significant stuff there to stand up. But another thing, you know, Larry Murphy was sharing a cell with a particular gentleman, and they were enjoying a bit of prison hooch one night, and they had a little bit too much to drink, and then Larry Murphy up and confessed the Deirdre Jacob case to him. Now this guy came forward to the guards and he told them that, and it's very, very important now that we establish the fact that he didn't stand to gain anything out of this. His sentence wasn't going to be shortened as a result of that or anything like that, and I feel that there must be a certain amount of relevancy there, because one thing that is highly, highly frowned upon amongst the prison population is anyone that rats on somebody, you know, to the guards. So it must have been disturbing enough for him to feel that this was the right thing to do, and he did come forward with the information. Now, yet again, I'm not saying that it was Larry Murphy, and I'm not pointing the finger at Larry Murphy, but what I will say, and you've heard me saying this before in other cases, this is certainly Deirdre, in my opinion, definitely fell foul to somebody that is similar to Larry Murphy, akin to Larry Murphy, with a similar kind of ability to commit horrendous crime. And you know, these sociopathic type people or psychosexual predators, there aren't that many of them out here in a small population of Ireland. So as I was saying to Natalie today when we were discussing it, you know, I like keeping hens. I like my hens, you know. If a few of my hens go missing out of the hen run, and then I look up my lane and I see down the lane from my house, I see a fox with feathers protruding from his mouth, I haven't caught him in the act, but the chances are it probably is him that took my hens, you know. Like, I mean, you have to look at this from a point of view that how many people in society could there be that could carry out this kind of a crime. And look, I would value everybody's opinion on this, and you know, I'm not saying that I am the be all and end all of knowledge or anything like that. I'm just pushing ideas around for everybody to have a little input on them, and maybe then while everybody has their say, that we could find something new, or somebody could find something new out. Like, what do you think, Natalie?
Yeah, well, it's her anniversary this Friday.
Her 25th, a big anniversary, you know.
Yeah. So, if anybody has any information, just like contact the guards.
Yeah, the guard confidential line, or the guard, any guard station, your local guard station, and it wouldn't really matter if you feel that it's not a significant piece of information. It could be, you know, like I always say that, you know, any individual piece of a jigsaw doesn't give you an idea of what the whole jigsaw looks like, but it could be the one that finishes the jigsaw, and who knows. Like I say with all these cases, there's always someone out there that knows something. There's no doubt about that. And you know, this girl, like, think about this, bring yourself back to 1998. You know, society has changed an awful lot since then, and maybe today there would be so much more CCTV on that main street if something like that were to happen. You know, it's the year that Titanic was a huge hit, the movie, and Bewitched were singing C'est La Vie, and if you were lucky enough to have a mobile phone, it was a Nokia that if you charged for 4 hours probably lasted for 60 days. That's the kind of society we were in those days. So my throat has gone dry. I'm just going to take a drink of water. So yeah, we'd love to hear your opinions on it and whatever you think. Or have I missed anything, do you think, Natalie, on this? Or
that's about it, really.
Yeah. And have you any ideas yourself? Or
I think you've covered everything, really.
Yeah, like, I mean, as I said, the 25th anniversary, there was a motorist who maintains that he did see her at the bottom of her driveway. Apparently they had quite an extensive long driveway, which the house was well in off the road. So yeah, my theory on it is, and my theory also seems to coincide with the modus operandi of how that lady in the hairdressers was abducted by Larry Murphy. Like, I mean, I think that someone pulled up on the road and said, had a road map or something like that, and said, look, sorry, I'm lost, I'm looking for such a place, and she stuck her head into the window and was hit with a cosh or something like that over the head and bundled into the car and out of there. For me, it's the only plausible way. It definitely happened with a vehicle, and she was definitely got into a vehicle. So the easiest way would be a cosh on the back of the head or something like that, while she thinks she's trying to help someone that's lost. It's plausible, I think, because there's no other way that this girl has disappeared for such a period of time. And that's it. There's nothing more to say on this case other than it's a very, very sad case for the family. These cases, families never get over cases like this. Never. How could you? And you know, it was recategorised as a murder inquiry, I think almost 20 years after she went missing initially. Like, it was 2018, I think it was recategorised as a murder inquiry. And I'm sure that, you know, once the guards don't categorise it as a murder investigation, you still hope and pray every day that she's just going to come in through the kitchen door and life goes back to normal. Because, you know, as parents, we trick ourselves into stuff like that. We do, because we can't come to terms with it. Who could? So guys, if anybody knows anything, just get in contact with your local Gardaí or the Garda Confidential line and spread the news. Thanks for dropping by, guys. See you next time.